some word tracks are not designed as knockout punches. They're just jabs. I have two schools of thought when it comes to overcoming objections in sales techniques. You're building a toolbox, right? And first you have to have the toolbox. Then you have to get the tools, right? So getting the tools is learning how to overcome the objections. But then you have to be able to put them in the toolbox and not only have the tools, but know when to use them. See, I was notorious for this when I first started. I would teach myself a word track, and the next customer, no matter the situation, I would say it. I just couldn't wait to try it out. But it didn't really apply. So you got to have the tools, you got to know what they do, and then the magic happens when you can reach in the toolbox without looking and then use the tool. And overcoming objections is just that, where no matter what the scenario is, you know what to say, when to say it. But I think understanding this is super important. I treat overcoming objections almost like MMA. Sometimes you're going up against somebody you got to grapple with. Sometimes you got to strike with them. Sometimes you got to wrestle with them. There's all different techniques. And a lot of times we'll use a word track or try to overcome an objection early on in the close, and it doesn't work, and we abandon it. But overcoming objections is like throwing a jab. See, the jab in the first round will have no consequence. But if you throw the jab, right, if you throw the jab in the last round, that may be the one that puts their lights out. So when overcoming objections, revisiting an objection that you weren't able to overcome early in the process is super important, because when you said it the first time in the close, it may have resonated, but it needs a little time to marinate. Circling back, using combinations, some objections segue into other objections. Sometimes I'll set a trap so they object to me just so I can overcome it and segue into something else. That's the chess match. So understanding that just because I tried to overcome an objection early in the process and it didn't work doesn't mean it won't work later on in the close. They've gathered new information since then. New value has been built. They've had time to think about it. They weren't put on the spot. So the word track you used earlier in the close is a jab. It didn't knock them out. It's the first round. In the last round, that jab may be the one that puts them out. So revisiting word tracks that didn't work earlier in the close, I think, is something that a lot of people don't do. They abandon them. No, the customer said they don't want to do it. Well, they didn't want to do it then. But since then, they've been here a half hour. Since then, you've built more value. Since then, you went back to the summary close to remind them what they're getting. It's been 45 minutes since they actually saw the car. They're buying a payment right now. Since then, you see, you know what, Mike, time out. Why don't we do this? Let's take a look at the car again. Let's make sure it's the perfect car for you, because if it's not, I don't want to do the back and forth with you. I don't want to waste your time. Come on, let's take a peek. Let's look at the car really quick. If it's perfect for you, I promise we'll make the numbers work. Let Mike see it again. Get his emotions involved. Come back in. That alone is going to get you $30 a month, $1 a day, right? A lot of times, I tell a lot of attendant, pull the car up behind the person's desk, make the customer stare at it the entire time. I want him looking at that car every time the salesperson's negotiating with him. I want them to see it. Remember what they get. So yeah, the overcoming objections part, understand that some word tracks are not designed as knockout punches. They're just jabs. You have to wear them down with them. And some of them segue into other ones that only work if you hit them with a couple jabs beforehand. Body language, little things, right? So when I come over and present my pencil, I've been doing it the same way since I was a salesperson. I'll come on over. All right, Mike, great news. I got those numbers worked up for us. I have the $1,000 down that you said you were comfortable with, and I gave you a few other down payment options as well. These are the monthly payments that line up with all those down payments. Now, all of this is still pending bank approval. We have not submitted it to a lender yet, but if you pick whatever option works best for you, work really hard to get you out of here today in your new car. Right when I get to the pending bank approval, I sit back in my chair. I'm signaling to Mike that I'm not going anywhere. Relax, you're not going anywhere either. We're just getting started. If I present the numbers to Mike and I'm leaned forward like this and he's leaned forward like this, it feels very stressful. It's tense. Intimidating. I can feel the energy, right? He could jump up out of his chair. So I signal to him that I'm relaxed. Sometimes I'll mess around on my desk, play with a little something like I'm not worried about this. You're just picking the option and we're good. But if I'm sitting here like this, like he feels that, right? So body language is a big thing, 100%.